What's up, Chiefs Kingdom? Over the years on Chief Concerns, we've had the incredible honor of sitting down with some of the biggest legends in franchise history. Guys who helped shape what it means to be a Chief today. From Hall of Famers to all-time fan favorites, these conversations have been some of the most memorable moments on our show. And personally, for me, I'll remember all of these conversations and I'll probably tell my kids about them. So today, we're throwing it back with the best of Chief Concerns, featuring interviews with the likes of Willie Roaf, Priest Holmes, and Tamba Hali. Hope you guys enjoy. So let's take a trip down memory lane.
It's an awesome honor to be able to talk to you. And when Eric said you were coming on, I was like, holy crap. I was like, Priest Holmes is coming on.
Hold on, Priest. JD's just not trying to log in.
Okay.
JD claimed that you were late more than he was during your time with the Chiefs.
Well, you see what happens after about 15 years.
What's up, Priest?
JD, what's going on?
I already knew Priest wasn't gonna be on here already. I know he's gonna be about 5-10 minutes late. I already know that.
Yeah.
But JD, hold on. He was on there before me, and I clocked in at 6:59.
Oh, really?
Ready to go.
What 3-1? What's going on with you?
Oh, not too much. Y'all guys are looking really good on the other side of that camera, though. I can tell you that much.
Yeah,
Man,
Priest.
hey,
Yeah. Sure, we try to get the
it's good being an athlete, man. 'Cause I guess some of this stuff has helped, with our aging. Because I do realize that we don't look as old as a lot of our. I look at some of my high school friends, and it's like they look. I don't know who's watching it, but I know some of them look like grandparents right now. They might be, but it's like what are you doing to yourselves to be aging so bad?
Well, I can tell you this. We just had our 30-year anniversary for our football team. We went to state. Unfortunately, we did not win state. We played Odessa Permian. It was a great game, but this was 30 years out, so we had a chance to gather together, too. So I'm not going to throw anybody underneath the bus because I'm going to tell you what, after 10 to 15 years being in retirement, the body definitely talks, and it's taught me a few lessons. I think every year that I've gone back to the doctor to get my annual checkup, there's always another thing that they're adding to the list. Low vitamin D, neuropathy. You just think of the different things that can happen, and it's just been a learning. It's just been a learning cycle for me to understand that the body does age, and that regardless of how strong and how dominant you once were, Father Time has a way of slowing you down.
That is true. But I'll admit, though, you do look good, man. So whatever you are doing, continue doing it, and many blessings to you.
Well, I'm telling you what, I might need to update my computer because I want that filter that JD got on his camera right there.
Oh, yeah, Priest, what it is, man. It's just good living right here, Priest. That's all. Good living, and a little bit of that, the little lights, what I'm saying, to kind of bring it out a little bit more, so.
But Priest, he is about 3+ now, so.
No, I'm not now. Hold on, I'm not there. See, look, we talking about guys looking younger. See, he be coming out here with that Superman beard, you know what I'm saying, all darkened out. Well, you be coming out here, boy.
Got a little salt and pepper. Got a little bit of salt and pepper in there, E.
Yeah.
Hey, I am what I am.
Yeah, ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, you can tell when that joke about to hit up on town, though. We about to go out of town? He look like he been 2003.
I know that's right.
So is you still in San Antonio?
Yeah, here in San Antonio, we just had the coaches convention, so had a chance to connect with several coaches across the country. Sammy Parker, you remember Sammy Parker played receiver?
I saw Sammy posted a picture of you and him on Instagram.
Yeah. So Sammy was there. We had a chance to connect. So it was really good just getting a chance to connect with everyone. The Trust had a breakout session for 2 days. So that's what I participated in.
Okay.
Now, being on the Trust, does that keep you busy?
Well, the Trust event was open to all former players. So it wasn't that my participation was based on job duties. It was just me, everyone coming to San Antonio, making sure, I'm there, get a chance to touch base and see if I can see any of the guys there. On the NFLPA platform, I do a lot more on that end in terms of some of the officer positions.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Now, JD,
what's your role down there, Priest? We said with the NFLPA. down there?
Yeah. So 2 years ago, I was elected as the executive chairman. And then I also served locally with the San Antonio Austin chapter. I've served in every officer position, from president, vice president, secretary to officer. We started our chapter here locally in 2010. We had about 35 former players. We did not have a chapter at that time. Of course, most of the cities do not have chapters. There's 34 cities across the country that has chapters. And believe it or not, Kansas City just brought on their first NFLPA chapter this year.
Wow.
You know, so JD, do y'all have a chapter in Kentucky?
We have a chapter in Cincinnati. So I still got to drive like an hour and a half to get up here in Cincinnati. So the three that I have around me, actually the two, is Cincinnati, and then you have Tennessee, you have Nashville. And so those
Did you participate in any of it?
You know, with COVID, you know, I've been doing like some of the Zoom meetings. And so like what Priest was saying too, like when I was, you know, doing the coaches, I go to the coaches conventions and whatnot. The trust puts on a lot of good things, man, for former players. I think a lot of guys just don't really tap into it just to see what I actually have to provide. And so I try to get, you know, involved as much as possible. A lot of guys, I play with some guys down at EKU that live up in Cincinnati now that get into it even more. But man, I tell you what, man, this like what Priest is kind of talking about, you know, we as former players, we need to get more involved in these things, just kind of, you know, showing our face, just kind of being out there even more than what we not, you know, than most guys been doing. Put it that way.
Keep going. I got to knock at my door.
All right. So Priest, man, are you coaching now? You said you went to the coaches convention.
So I went to coaches convention. I'm not actually a coach. You know,
okay.
Time commitment that it takes to be a coach and the sacrifice that is needed. I feel like I made that sacrifice during my 11-year career. What I will do is participate in all-star games. I'll come out and coach with some of the camps. I still like to participate, but as far as having the long haul over the course of a year and committing to a team, obviously that's something that I do not have an opportunity to participate in. But like I said, I came just to make sure that I could connect with some of the players that was there. I had a chance to meet with Sammy Parker. There was several other players that I had a chance to connect with that I had played with. Also in Baltimore, Tyrus McLeod. I had a chance. We were both rookies back in 1997 with the Baltimore Ravens. Had a chance to connect with him. I hadn't seen him since 2000, so that's 20 plus years. And now, you know, we're much older now and had a chance to just connect. You know, it's one of those things where once you get involved and you start participating in these different functions and chapters and committees, you get a chance to connect with people across the country. So that's what I really like doing it for. Yeah.
I agree with you, man. That's such a wonderful thing, man. Just to, you know, go back and see guys that you haven't seen in a long time. He said it's been 20 years since you seen it, man. I know just the smile on your face, both of y'all, just seeing each other, man, was just, I'm sure, just brought a lot of joy to each other.
Well, not only that, it was just some of the stories that Tyrus and I was able to share. You know, we talked about when we first got there and how one of the first things that I was told by Ted Marchabroda, who was one of the oldest coaches at the time in Baltimore, he told me, he said, Priest, I'm going to tell you this, the only way you're going to make this team is through special teams. And this entire year, you will not touch the football in the game. Now, you'll touch it every day for everybody's reps in practice. You're going to take everybody's reps in practice, but you will not touch the pigskin during the game. And he did keep his word on that. And at the time, we had Bam Morris, which was the starting running back, and Ernest Biner as a third down back. And so I was actually fortunate to be on a team at that time. And I know we're talking about Baltimore Ravens, one of the first teams that I played with. But when I played with Ernest Biner, he was the first person as a vet to tell me there's a difference between a professional football player and a football player. And he says the football player is going to show up, he's going to have fun, he's going to look at the books, and only going to take the time out during your breakout sessions or during your meetings that he's has to go to and attend. But your professional football player, he's going to find the time to do the cold bath. He's going to come in and do the extra stretching. He's going to also participate in more film study when he goes back to the house. So I learned that in my first 4 dark years, as I call them. And then I think I saw the light when I got to Kansas City, you know.
That was definitely you, man. I remember one time I went to your house and you were kind of showing me around. You go up to the bedroom. Priest had dumbbells right next to the bed. That he had to rip them out before he go to bed.
Yeah, I had a great time in Kansas City. And I can tell you, one thing you was going to find out in my house was one thing, there wasn't going to be a lot of furniture. I didn't really waste time with any of the necessities or the things that, one might might find themselves to indulge with when they have an opportunity to play in a professional football game. But for me, it was just a matter of just making sure I had the bare essentials to make sure all of my focus went on being one of the best running backs in the league at that time. So we've had some fun though. Incredible years that I was there. And I remember you actually lived not too far from me. E had the big house. You know, I had the smaller house.
We did have some fun though, man. I keep telling everybody like the craziest game that I was a part of was in college. And, you know, we went out to first Big 12 game and we played you guys and everybody was expecting Ricky to come out and just run all over us. And we just shut Ricky down. I'm talking about completely shut Ricky down. And every time they brought in this little dude, Priest, did nobody really know who he was, just up and down the field. We had no idea. And Priest just ran all over us. So that was my first loss. No, that wasn't my first loss. My first loss was Arizona State. And that was the second loss of my college career, was to Priest in Texas.
Yeah, you know, E, when you talk about that game, the first Big 12 championship, you know, and we came from the Southwest Conference, you know, with the University of Texas. And, you know, just to be able to be on that stage with Nebraska at that time, and we know of all the accolades that Nebraska had and the championships that they rolled in there with. But, you know, for us, it was one of those situations where all the attention was on Ricky. All of the attention was on Sean Mitchell. Sean Mitchell was a junior transfer that it came in the year prior before that with Ricky when he was a freshman. And Sean Mitchell had came from Blinn as a junior transfer. Yeah. So all the attention really was on those two guys. I had tore my ACL prior to that rookie year of Ricky coming in. So Ricky and I didn't play together his freshman year. I came back for my senior year, and then what ended up happening was, how are we going to figure out to get three of these backs on the field during a game? And I can tell you this, Bucky Godbolt was the running back coach at that time. He said, we're going to get Sean Mitchell and give him the ball back on the 20. And, you know, Sean had the ability to break at least an 80-yard, a 60-yard at any given time. He had that type of speed. If he didn't get it within one or two plays in that series, the ball would be given to Ricky. Ricky would get it down to the red zone. If Ricky did not score, that was the only time I was going to see any kind of pay dirt, you know, so that was the only time I was going to be in the game. So if Ricky knew if he came up shy anywhere by that 25-yard line and he didn't score, oh, believe me, if you give me the ball, I'm getting in the end zone. So I had a chance to practice that early on in my, or later on in my college career, my collegiate career. So then when we got to the league, that knack for getting in the end zone, I had already been preparing. I had already been practicing that. I was already very comfortable about being under pressure because I knew if I didn't score, the ball was going back to Ricky for him to get the score. So,
Priest, it wasn't even your goal line runs again in that Texas game. You were breaking long runs on us.
Well, you know, a lot of it had to also do with the attention was on Ricky at that time.
Yeah, that's where our game plan was at.
Yeah, and then, you know, Coach Vermeil, he also commentated that game as well. Yeah. And I heard a story years later where he came up to John Makovic at that time, who was the head coach, and he asked Makovic, and he said, who's going to be the star of this game? And Makovic said, I know everyone is thinking Ricky Williams, but there's a senior running back named Anthony Holmes, which is everyone called me back in that time. And then they said he's going to be the star of this game. And it was one of those things that, you know, going into the game, we had no idea what that game was going to look like. We knew what the pressure was to go up against the Nebraska Cornhuskers, but I know we had to have E and all of them eat a little corn after that game. You know,
hey man, we had some dogs though back on that team. So and we really shut, you know, y'all guys down until only when you got in and got the ball. And then there was that 1 4th down play that y'all went for that kind of, you know, put the stamp on it. So that was basically what ended it for us. But yeah, Priest came in and it was lights out.
Yeah,
we had nothing game plan. And I think we had a couple of guys from Texas that told us that were on our team that we had recruited from Texas, from the state of Texas. So they were like, you know, man, y'all got to be aware of this Priest guy. So we're like, we don't know Priest. Mm-hmm. You know, we didn't have any film on him. And so our game plan was just to shut down, I forget the quarterback's name.
James Brown.
James Brown. So we just had to shut down because James Brown, a mobile quarterback, and Priest. Not Priest, but Ricky Williams. So going in, we were doing our job. All of a sudden, it was, you wore 33, right?
I wore 33. And anytime I was in the game, it was going to be a 2-back set. So the majority of any game, even that entire year, like I said, once Sean came out the game, it was a matter of putting Ricky in the eye or putting Ricky in the single back position and then letting him do his thing, which he came in an incredible talent coming out of California. So he definitely had the ability then, man. And, you know, obviously we saw what he was able to do in terms of the records that he broke after leaving, you know, on his way to leaving college. But, you know, it's just one of those things where you have an opportunity, you take advantage of it. I've always been able to play very strong in that underdog role. You know, I understand that. I'm very comfortable in that position. So all of the adversity that I think someone would say that I was up against, it was adversity that I was very comfortable with dealing at the time. So
Yeah.
You know what's the Priest, and you saying that it always seems like that's the common theme. You know, I didn't even know it's about, like, as far as how it happened down in Texas, but then all of a sudden you get over to Baltimore with the Ravens, like you said, man, you got Ernest Byer, shoot, you got Jamal Lewis. I mean, you got all these guys right there that's lining up. You know how it is. You know, every time you come into camp, you're always measuring guys up, right? You always want to see what a guy can do, and it's always some of the guys that you ain't quite looking to be that guy. And then all of a sudden, you go out there, man. You absolutely light it on fire with Baltimore there when you get to the Super Bowl and whatnot. And then all of a sudden, we get a chance to get you over at the Chiefs, right? And so when Coach Vermeil, and that is a good story. I didn't even know that, as far as, like you said, Coach Vermeil asked about who was this guy right here who's going to, you know, be the guy who's going to win the game for you. But finally, we get you over to Kansas City. You come in number 3-1. We call you the Galloping Ghost. That's what we call you. So that's in the tight end room, and some of the, you know, the guys, we call you the Galloping Ghost, because I think it's just a combination of, like you said, maybe that adversity, that work ethic that you have. You know, that when you come out there, there's this passion, this thirst, that every time that you run the football, like you run with like authority. You know what I mean? Like it's almost like it's going to be your last carry. And sometimes when people ask me as far as like blocking for you, I said, man, Priest made it look easy. I mean, he made it easy for us. You know, he said, well, you do your job. I said, look, by the time I was getting my hands on a guy, Priest was past me. And so I said, that's just as guy that's blocking for a running back, to see a running back hit the hole and just get past you. And then not only just get past you, I'm talking about secondary, already in the secondary, making some moves. That, man, is the greatest feeling I could possibly see. And then, of course, like I said, when I seen you do it a lot of times, 3-1, I seen you do it a lot of times, Priest. But, man, I just kind of talk on that a little bit, as far as, like, I know you was, you know, saying about the adversity you had to deal with, but what was it that drove you, just besides, like, just being an underdog role? What was your mindset just coming to the games? What was you thinking?
Well, you know, I can talk about that. I really can, JD, and I appreciate you giving me my roses while I'm still alive, man. I appreciate that.
You big out there,
me. If I get an opportunity to step foot at the Hall of Fame, I'm gonna make sure I have you talking for me. You got me hype over here. So, you know, one of the things I think a lot of people didn't kind of underestimated me is that I was always a student of the game, always sitting back, watching, comparing myself, and watching film. I played with the likes of Ricky Williams, Bam Morris, Eric Rhett. You remember from Tampa Bay, and he came over to the Baltimore Ravens as well. I played 2 years with Rhett. We also had Jamal Lewis. So I have always had a number of backs that looked completely different than I did in the pads, and gained and garnered their own type of dominance when they played the game. And I actually watched how these guys could command, you know, control of the game, you know, the ground game when they would run the ball. But outside of just being a student of the game, one of the things that always stood out to me is that X's and O's. I've always said I'm an X and O guy, and all my entire life, you know, a dry erase board and X's and O's and a dry erase mark has always been my passion, my love, right? So a lot of people never realize this about me, is that when we were making up those plays in the running back meeting and in the offensive meeting, the thing that I always lived for was to see if I can actually draw up a play, make it X's and O's, and actually execute it exactly how it looks on the paper. Now on the paper, it's clean. You just got X's and O's. You have these lines that go through, and it's a perfect play. You know, if it's supposed to go 30, it goes 30. If it's supposed to go 2 yards, it goes 2 yards. But we know that's not the reality once the ball is hiked. But my passion always was trying to always seek for that clean play. We drew it up exactly like this. The play is supposed to get this amount of yards. And if JD hooks that defensive end, right, or he pushes them out, you know, it's going to be a big play. So in search of that all my life, in my entire 11-year career, searching that, I found that I was able to make a play like that along with my linemen and the other offensive players. But it's something that's always very difficult to do. It's almost impossible to get just that perfect play. And if that was the one thing that I always searched for and yearned for, that's what always kept that passion for me to continue to play. And most people probably, they would never even know that when I was lining up to play football, was finding that perfect play.
I tell you what, you made them look perfect, man, because, you know, I get what you're saying, being a student of the game with Priest. We all know that there's a lot of so-called running backs that are not as gifted as others. And you had that knack for knowing where a defender was coming from, how to hit a hole instinctively to make plays larger than what they really were. You know, as a defender on the same team, dog, it was so much fun to watch you and D Hall whenever y'all got the ball in your hand. And so I'm blessed, very happy to have had the privilege to play alongside of you. I wish, God knows every bone in my body, I wish we had the defense to complement you guys during our run in Kansas City, because we had a hell of a fire team there, man.
Yeah, you know, when you talk about defense and, you know, the time I spent in Baltimore, I had a chance to, you know, play alongside Ray Lewis, go against him my rookie season as a tackling dummy every play. And you know, you couldn't, if you wanted to go after a starting defensive player, you know, you knew you couldn't, especially as a rookie. But when we got to Baltimore, regardless of how, you know, things played out, you know, I think that we had a wonderful time, man. And, you know, the opportunity and the success and the history that we were able to lay in front of the guys that are now playing today, man, I think it took a lot out of us, and it meant a lot. I mean, you know, nothing in this world is perfect, right? But true. I'm telling you what, man, the opportunities, the relationships, and opportunities to play along with you guys, man, was something that I'll never forget, man. And so, you know, I can tell you again, I remember when we were playing Indianapolis, and they let E play Indianapolis. I said, man, what the hell they got E out there playing with that back? But, you know, regardless of that, man, you know, we all had shortcomings. You know, there were times where, you know, I had my injuries, you know, at times where it seemed like I was plagued with injuries, where I had the MCL in 2004 and then come back in 2005 and then have the neck injury. You know, it was always, you know, it seemed like it was always something, you know, that didn't allow us at times to really connect and put things together. But we did have something special, man. We did show that during that time. And for us to come in there 01, 02, and then build up to 03 and put together what we did in that particular year, man, that was something special.
It was.
Priest, man, but you know, I could always tell you was a, you know, cerebral guy anyway, you know, and I think a lot of it, like you said, the compensation of like the work ethic, toughness, intelligence, going into an X and O's guy. And see, as a blocker, you can definitely see that, you know, because especially, you know, in the offensive side of the ball, you know, I mean, you know, this is like when we're making the blocks, like you said, everything's supposed to work in order like it should, right? And so like you said, man, you made it, you know, you made it look like you drew it up. And so that was the great thing about it. When people used to ask me, what's the difference between Priest and Larry and they run the style? Okay. I said, well, look, I said, Priest is a muscle. Okay. He's a muscle. Like he's built like when you look at Priest, he's a solid muscle. That's what he is. Right. But number two, when he goes, he hits the hole. You don't see him. He don't really, you know, run back and forth looking for daylight. He knows as a good running back is vision. I know he was like, that's why I was just thinking about that vision, knowing how the whole breathes at the right time and just to be right there. And it was just like that timing, man, is just what you had. And I had to say this, Spree, you were the first one I held up high and high, okay? When I used to hold the running backs up in the end zone for a touchdown, you were the first one 3-1. So I just want to let you know that, man. So we just started making the tradition. I'm like, sure, you hold this joker up, you know, giving him, you know, the glory, like you said, getting his roses, let everybody just see him out here. So, you know, you stand up I'm gonna hold you up to about 7'5", buddy. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, that was some good times. And then, like, when you talk about LJ, I even learned a lot from LJ. His running style, his ability to run mean and mad. There were always things
That's exactly how he ran too.
Yeah, he really did. And so one of the things that I know that he quickly had to learn is that when he came into the league, he's coming off of a 2000 year at Penn State. The likelihood for him to take over that starting position, it just seems a very natural transition to do. But again, I think when LJ got there, he was able to learn the difference between, just being a football player and being a professional football player. Once he got into the locker room with T. Rich and myself, and he saw how serious we took the game. And back at that time, we're talking about 15 years ago and plus, man, I could run up and down that field as many times as you want me to. You know what I mean? So he then saw that part of work ethic. But one thing I also did learn, like I said, he was able to run really mean, and he also was a very strong stature, tall, had the ability to, I'm taking 2 steps. He's on his 4th step. You know what I mean? He had that a bit, he had that ability to really stretch out those legs, man, and go the distance. And so, you always learn something. I can even go back to Jamal Lewis when I was in Baltimore. And when Jamal came in as a rookie, it was my 4th season. I had already rushed for 1,000 yards. I was the first 1,000-yard rusher for the Baltimore Ravens. I had already split time with Eric Rett when they were unsure about what they were going to do with Eric Rett. And then I come into my 4th year thinking, oh, here's an opportunity for me to go ahead and take the starting role. Well, we had a head coach at that particular time that had a different thought process. Here's what happened. So when he came in the year before, he said, I need each player to come up to my office and I want to be able to do an assessment and tell you how you're going to fit into this team. So I go into the room and I'm like, all right, coach, I'm Priest, it's my 3rd year. And he says, yep, I know everything about you. He says, but here's how you're going to fit in. He says, you do not look like this running back I want walking down my tunnel. Now, again, you have to remember, I had just rushed for 1,000 yards the year before. And here is, head coach coming in, and Brian Billick is the name at the time. And so he says, you don't look like the running back that I want walking down my tunnel. I said, well, what do they look like? And he says, well, if you look at our division, you got Jerome Bettis, you got Eddie George, you got Corey Dillon, you got Fred Taylor. All these guys are 6'1", 6'2", 6'3", 235 pounds or heavier. And he said, and then here you are, Priest, you don't look like it. You're not going to look intimidating when we run down a tunnel. So a lot of those things kind of stuck with me, and learning how, the game is also what you see on paper as well. And so it kind of goes back to what you were saying, JD, how did I, learn that ability to be able to take command when I ran? I learned that by watching the bigger backs on what they were doing and how to attack the game. And I think just the difference is when I added the X and O's and the passion behind that and studying film, it allowed me to be very dangerous. You know what I mean? So I ran with a certain authority. There's been many players that were defensive linemen, offensive linemen that met me after I retired and said, man, I never knew you were that size. I didn't know you were 5'9", 212 pounds. You ran different.
But you play a lot bigger.
Yeah, you played up, right? We called it you playing up. So, that's one of the things that I just learned how to play up, because I was always around backs that had that stature. And I learned how to, not necessarily manipulate the body, but I learned how to run with a little bit different type of passion and force, regardless of my stature. I appreciate you guys having me. Marcus, I appreciate you spending a little time with me and letting me talk shop with these guys, man. These are my old teammates back from that 2003 Chiefs and many years that we played before and after that, man. E, man, again, we go all the way back to Nebraska, man. One of our first meetings, back in college football. JD, hey, you know what I always knew? They always said, man, if you ever running the ball, which side would you rather go? Tony Gonzalez or T or JD? I said, man, that's not even an answer. You got to ask.
That's a no-brainer.
Ask me. T Gun ain't blocking nobody. So send me to JD side so we can go ahead and get to work and put some work in. JD and I, man, we used to put that work in, if y'all don't know that, man. JD will get that hook on that defensive end, and if he hook him on the inside, I'm taking JD's hip. If JD pushes him out wide, I'm getting up underneath JD's hip, So it was one of those things. I already knew the position that JD was going to be, he's going to be aiming for, as a tight end coming out and making that block. And then with T Gun, oh man, we don't know what's gonna happen with T Gun, man. You got to be ready. Just be ready. You be ready.
Well, hey, I told him when Coach Bill gave you that name, the ticket.
I'll tell you what, man, I've had a couple of different names while we're talking about that. I don't know how much time we have left, but during the off season, Coach Vermeil and Carol Vermeil would have different groups come to their house. I think y'all remember that. It'd be the DBs and tight ends, or running backs and DBs, or the quarterbacks. And so one of the names that I ended up calling me is that at the beginning of going over to the Vermeil's house, they'd start off with white wine, and they'd show you the difference in white wine, and then you move to the red wines. And then Miss Carol, she would always cook a roast. Well, I remember, what I thought was just white wine. I said, man, Coach, why don't you give me some of that cake bread in there? You know what I mean? And so he was trying to figure out, man, ever since I called what was probably like Riesling at the time, and they had me drinking, I mean, I didn't know if it was Riesling, champagne. I said, man, y'all just give me some of that cake bread up in there. And, I'm sorry. And so when I said that, the name of the wine ended up being cake bread. But ever since then, man, when I got to naming all these different names, Coach Vermeil would always tell me, man, shortbread, he's shortbread. He's shortbread and he ghost. Man, those are the two names I remember having. Either you're going to look for me, I'm not going to appear. You're not going to find me. You're not going to find me. Or if it comes to trying to name some wine, I'm going to just butcher the names of all the wines, until I learn. So, yeah.
No, this was at training camp, and you came down, and Greg Wesley just came and snuck you on a play.
Yeah.
And Coach Vermeil, everybody got hot. I think one of the linemen tried to fight it. And so Coach Vermeil came in and broke it. It was like, hey, this is the ticket. This is what gonna get us to the Super Bowl. We don't hit him like that.
Right. He fussed at everybody. Priest, I don't know if you remember, but I remember seeing you, Priest. After they had that play, I remember you doing like this. You just took your chin strap off, took your helmet off, set on the side. You're like, hey, man, I'm done. You took his ass.
Yeah, man, we had some great memories, man. Just from being in the meeting room, with the tight ends, being in the meeting rooms with the linemen, going out through walkthroughs with the guys, man. And the coach always telling me, "Priest, slow down. This ain't the game." I'm on a full speed and walkthrough, ready to go. And but it was just some really good times. And like I said, even to this day, I still get a chance to connect with Coach Vermeil. Every month or so, I'll get a text, man, and he'll be checking in on me. He'll call my parents and check in and see how they're doing. I'll return that call, return that text, and check in to see how Coach Vermeil is doing. So, it's just to have a coach like that, man, that had, the ability to really bond us all together, get us all to believe in a common goal and go out there and try to come, to accomplish that, man. That's big.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, he just called me last week, and that's one thing I've done with a lot of the guys that I played with. I create these little group text messages because a lot of them don't get to keep up. A lot of them don't have numbers to most of the guys that we played with. So I try to keep in touch with everybody that I played with, man.
Oh,
everybody.
Yeah. We just got off the ambassador call about 30 minutes before I jumped on this call. And so, the ambassadors program with the Chiefs, if you played at least 4 years, you can come back and participate as an ambassador. You can get involved with the community. You can do events. You can be a part of the gala. You get a chance to fundraise and give out scholarship dollars as well, if you choose to do that. It's funny, one of those things that, I didn't even realize that the ambassadors existed. Half of my 15 years that I was retired, I'd always go back and participate in events, and I'd see the guys, but I just thought I was seeing the guys. I didn't realize it was a program, but I finally got educated on it, man. So for any of the former players that might be watching this and reaching out and seeing this, always encourage them to get involved with the Chiefs. And it's a funny rule that you have to play at least 4 years, so that leaves out a lot of guys as well. But for the guys that if that's something that they feel interested in doing, they should partake in it. It's a good group of guys. It's roughly about 50 to 55 guys that participate in the ambassador program, and you get a chance to see them once a month, and you get a chance to give out some money. So that's good stuff.
That's what's up.
Always good.
Priest, before you go, there's a question I want to ask you. So back in the day before there was Twitter, I remember my brother, my older brother's a big Chiefs fan, and I was like 9 or 8 at the time, and I remember, I guess it was one of the off seasons where we didn't know if you were going to be back and healthy or not. But there was this person on Kansas City Star's message board named Bishop 31 who acted as if he was you, Priest Holmes. And so I remember my brother say, "Oh, Priest is messaging on the message boards here. He says he's going to be back. He would give this person would give updates every so often." So I had to ask you because there's no verified accounts on the message boards back in the day. Were you Bishop 31 on the Kansas City Star message board back in the day?
Not to my knowledge. Not to my knowledge. Did I have anything to do with that? But I can tell you, Marcus, about Twitter and social media. Man, I pray to God still to this day. I'm glad that thing didn't exist when I played. I still throw up a couple of prayers. Man, I'm glad it didn't exist. Because we used to have fun. We used to have fun.
Yeah.
We used to win. We used to go out to the steakhouse after we would win. And there was one club that had it at the basement. What was the name of that club?
Casino.
Boy, the Mika, JD, T-Gun, that's their spot. But I can tell you what, man, I think that when we played, although we had different challenges playing the game, we dealt with more abuse that could be accepted on the field. I think that some of the laws, some of the things that got outlawed with football, that it contributed to some of the injuries I had. I had a horse collar out in Denver. That's how I ended up getting the hip. When I was playing out in, I think it was Tampa Bay, one of the guys launched, and that's how I ended up messing up my MCL, and so now you can't lead with the helmet, right? I mean, just imagine that, JD, if we was down there running that perimeter run, and man, you can't even hit me with your helmet. Oh, it's on and cracking. It'd be very tough. It'd be very tough. And so I think the challenges that they played with today, they're probably challenges that, we're just not familiar with, when we see it. And we probably call it something different, but they have their own set of challenges, and they have social media. The time that they step outside their door, they're being watched and typically being filmed, and that's something I think in 2001, 1997, when I first got into the league, no, that was unknown of, unless, you were just the big celebrity guy, where, you would have media. And then again, you had to be in Dallas, or you had to be in New York, to
Big
have that
market.
type of attention. Yeah. Big markets, you have to be in that. So, we definitely was able to escape some punishments that probably would have been laid out had we just been so carefree back then. But I think it's very tough for today's athlete. They deal with so much more, and the scrutiny that they're under. Man, I only pray for those guys, because I know, man, it's just a matter of them just walking into the restaurant saying the wrong thing, and man, it could be all over Twitter and have an impact on their career. So they deal with so much more. But it looked a lot different when we played. So, we're blessed to be able to be here today and to watch what this game has evolved to. And like I said, the amount of money that's generated has gone up. There's nothing to see a $70-80 million player. That could be JD, that could be a running back, that could be E now. It could be any of us. It wouldn't be your select, your select three guys on the team that are really seeing those opportunities. But it's good to see that the game has grown, and I'm glad that I had an opportunity to be a part of it.
As much as I always want to complain about how so much changed, from the way you hit to the way, some of the calls are adjusted. But then I look at, some of the guys that played before me to some of the guys that I played with, and some of the heartfelt moments. Some of those guys aren't here because of the physical parts that have labored them, or the mental part that's gotten the best of them. So I've accepted, and it's taken me a while to accept the changes in the game, to try to make it better for guys when they do leave the game, to be not in a position like a lot of the guys that we played with are in. So
yeah, when you talk about that change, when guys go into camp, they have what's called an acclimation period, where they don't go into camp going right into pads, which is what we experience. And then, they don't go in the camp knowing that they got to put on pads and do 2-a-days, or have multiple practices and then have back-to-back days with practices. So there's a lot of things that they've done to help clean up the game. Obviously, one of the concerns that we all as players have to understand and be aware of is CTE. Obviously, right now, the findings, you can't, diagnose that until a person has passed and they've donated their brain. But with all these things that we've had to persevere through, I think that they are trying their best to kind of clean up the game. The game is still going to be an exciting game. It's still going to be a game of impact. It's going to be a game of the strongest and the smartest players, that are out there on the field. It's going to be, a game of who can match up players the best. So that part of football hadn't changed, and it will never change, man.
Sure.
And that's what makes it special. So, however this game goes, whether it's we're scoring 33 or more points, or JD, the defense stepping up and, trying to keep the offense down. I think it's going to be a hell of a game, man. I'm excited and can't wait to see it.
Yeah. So, we'll see it. We'll see it.
Well, Priest.
Well, yeah. I have to tell you, I gotta say one thing, Marcus. I'm checking out these bobbleheads behind you, man, and but I see the bobbleheads, but you're missing one.
Well,
How you know he's missing one?
You're missing one. I don't see that 3-1 up in there.
Yeah.
So when I was younger, when my brother moved out to California, I had and Priest is his favorite player. He's got an autographed helmet of yours, autographed ball, all these Priest Holmes stuff. And I was actually telling E earlier that back in the day, I remember my brother, there was a street in our area in Northern Virginia it was Holmes Run Drive. And I remember one night he came home with this big sign that said Holmes Run Drive on it. But I actually had a Priest Holmes bobblehead that I had, and when he moved to California, I gave it to him when I was a young kid. So that's why I never ended up getting it back. But I will definitely look out for one on eBay or something.
Yeah,
hey, Priest, our show doesn't stop. We go when we ready to stop. So if you ain't ready to go, we ain't got to shut it down.
Yeah. So the thing is, Marcus, like when I talk about bobbleheads and things of that nature, you always almost forget. I mean, man, we're 15 years now, close to 15 years being retired, and it's almost as if, man, I kind of lose count. After that 10 years of being out the game, I've kind of just lost count in terms of trying to keep up with it. I think it was more synonymous for me. I was saying, man, let me get to those 10 years. Let me try to beat that statistics that, that within 3 years, 78% of the players are having issues with abuse, chemical dependence, they're bankrupt. I was like, man, let me get to the 3 years. Okay, let me get to the 10 years. And so once I hit 10 years, it just seems like, I look at the game a little bit different. I also try to think back to, when we were playing, how long ago that was, and that, when you see these newer players, it's funny, man, the guys that are now playing, they're remembering us now as when we played, or they're remembering guys that when we were getting ready to retire, they're remembering those guys. And it's just interesting when you get a chance to talk to these young players now. I've had an opportunity to meet some of the players just in passing at being at different conventions and things of that nature. And they always still have something, really, really good to say about the players that they watch. No different than that. I just talked about, there was a coaches convention that was here in San Antonio this past Sunday and Monday. I had a chance to talk with Tyrone Wheatley. I don't know if y'all remember who Tyrone Wheatley was. Michigan running back. He also played for the Giants and I believe the Raiders. And you remember he came out of college in 1995. He wasn't that far removed before you and I. And, I still remember watching him and playing video games, with someone that was just still, we even overlapped, playing years. But, it's always exciting getting a chance to, connect with these young guys. I don't think they always know all the past. And I have to say, I didn't even know the past when I got into the game because, I was probably one of those first generation guys that within my family was one of the one or two players that was able to play professionally. But it wasn't something that I saw. It wasn't in my backyard. It wasn't at home. It wasn't where I was going home to an uncle or a dad and always talking football. I was the one to first experience, I guess, this path with my family on a large scale, as a professional. So, although these young players, give us, they give homage and, they're always thankful when they see the older guys that have done it before them. But it's no different than when we got in the game, man. And, like I said, Ernest Biner and paying homage to him and, letting them know how important he was, to the game of football with me. I just also, at that convention had a chance to, connect with some other guys as well. But, the biggest thing that I like about getting a chance to reconnect is always trying to give out those services and letting guys know what their benefits are with the NFLPA, with our union. Our union has done some great things. I know, although the union wasn't as strong when we played, we almost felt like it was obsolete. Like, where's our representation?
I think that was James Hasty at the time.
Yeah, these owners and the coaches are getting away with highway robbery with the way that they're having us go out here to practice and taking up so much time, depriving us of sleep. It kind of felt like that, but it was all meant to grow the game, man. And so here we are, years later, and the game has just continued to just explode, man. And I think that, you know, when the game moves out for the championship game out in California, the SoFi Field, man, I think that's going to be an incredible time. And I haven't seen in person, gone to any of those California stadiums, but I can just imagine, man. I can just imagine how beautiful those stadiums are and what that looked like. The one thing I also, you know, have a grief about is that every time I left college or left Baltimore or left the Chiefs, they always decided then to start the construction. Man, I ain't never played in something new and nice. You know, I remember our break room, our lunchroom was like in a hallway that was in between going to the living room and to go outside the stadium. This little hallway, man. We had Raisin Bran, we had Kellogg's, you know, and then we had, you know, the little hot plate, but it was all served on like a 6-foot table, you know. Okay, well, I guess that's what we do here. My mom, man, just came by the house, man. She come in here to say hello to me, man. But yeah, man, this has been a great time, man. So like I said, man, any more questions y'all got for me?
No, we good, man. We appreciate you coming on. We don't want to keep you on it much longer.
Appreciate it. Hey, please tell your mother hello for us too, man.
Yes, sir.
And allowing you to come on the show, come talk to us, man. Just want to let you know, Priest, man, good seeing you, man. I love you, brother. All right, I love you.
Okay, hold on. Let me let y'all say hi to my mom. Mom, come on in here. Put your head down here. My mom like, man, what y'all doing in here? Yeah, you come sit right here. You kind of get cameras right here, so you kind of just come sit next to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, hello there. Happy New Year.
Hi.
Yeah, this is Mrs. Morris. We call her Nana. This is Nana.
Nana, Happy New Year.
Oh, thank you. Happy New Year to everyone.
And then one other thing, guys, y'all may not know this, but my son, Jacobin, y'all would have seen him. He was much younger back then. My second oldest son. Man, I got a new name. I'm a grandfather now, man. They call me Pop Pop. You know what I mean? That's I got a cool name. Pop Pop.
I see you, Pop Pop.
Yeah, you got Pop Pop and Priest Holmes and 3-1 all in one. Yeah, so I'm a grandfather, man. So I'm really excited about that. And you know, it's been a blessing. So yeah, I appreciate y'all having us on this podcast.
Yeah, I love it, man. Y'all have a beautiful night.
All right.
Okay.
Nice being you, Priest. Nice being you.
God bless everybody.
God bless you too. Good seeing you. Good seeing you.
Good seeing you all too.
All right, fellas.
We have our very first guest in Hall of Fame tackle, Willie Roaf. Willie, welcome to the show, man. We're happy to have you.
Thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
I got to ask, when was the last time all three of you guys were together?
One of the Chiefs honorary deals where guys go in the ring of honor.
Yeah.
Brian Waters.
Brian Waters.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, it's good to finally have this connection on the show. I gotta say, I love it. I mentioned it earlier, but I feel like we need to get the pads on to get Dwayne Clemens or Vonnie Holiday in here for a little Oklahoma drills. We got enough for it.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Vonnie Holiday in forever.
Who, Vonnie? Nah.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. I know last time he was supposed to, is he still down in Atlanta? I think last time I checked, he was still down that way.
No.
Yeah,
I think D. Clem is still in Kansas City. I know he's training out there, isn't he?
Is it?
I think so.
It's interesting to see the amount of players that are not from Kansas City who end up going to play for the Chiefs and then end up living there. And I've seen that a lot with a lot of players who have gone to Kansas City at some point in their career and they end up staying there and living there. Is it one of those areas that kind of draws you in?
I mean, I think it's one of those situations to where when you get there, you're playing on the team, you get to know the city, you got your family all relocated there. And if it's right at the end of your career, and you feel like your family's situated good enough to where you can raise your kids and continue living a prosperous life, it's a good place to just stay and go ahead and make that living. But yeah, a lot of people do continue to do that, and some of them end up going back home and trying out different cities.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, man, you know, like you said, there's a school system in Kansas. I know a lot of guys living in Kansas. I actually lived in the Missouri part, so I lived up north by the airport. So it's kind of hard for me because my family was back here in Kentucky, so I was flying back and forth as much as possible. But yeah, as far as like, you know, family atmosphere and stuff like that, I can see that. You know, guys living out that way in Kansas.
And Willie, you were there for like 3 years. Did you still go back a lot? I mean, outside going back for games and stuff.
Yeah, no, I was there 4 years. I was coming off knee surgery when I got there, and I had moved to California because I got traded from New Orleans. So I was back and forth in between there and California at the time. But I think also a lot of people like it because of the, we had a great bond between the guys we were there, and the cost of living was good. So a lot of guys liked it because of the cost of living and everything. And a lot of guys, like you said, a lot of guys still stay there. But I was at that time, I was back and forth between there and California. And I did like Eric. I came to Florida because of no state tax, so I had to get out of California. I moved all the way south.
And I feel like KC's like one of those the rare sport towns that's kind of has that small town feel. Like I'm from the DC area, and these guys don't really get connected to the city as much as the Kansas City. Where like if you go to Miami and stuff, there's really no connection with the city. Like it doesn't have that kind of small town feel. Where I feel like Kansas City, everyone kind of rallies around the Chiefs, and Royals too, but obviously the Chiefs is the main one. So,
but Miami, you got a lot of things going. You got the Marlins. You got a ton of the colleges there. You got the Miami Heat. So you got a variety of sports.
Yeah.
Kansas City only has the Royals and the Chiefs.
Yeah.
So the city is more tuned into those two because that's the only professional two sports. Well, you got the soccer team, but it's not as big.
Right.
But as far as the big major sports, you got the Royals and the Chiefs. That's all you have.
Right, and the nightlife aspect too is got to play a part of it as well. It's why I say a lot of San Diego people aren't going to didn't go to the Chargers games because there's so much to do during the day. They don't really care as much as a team. But I guess in areas that do have a lot of going on, I guess people gravitate towards more towards the Chiefs since there's really not a lot going on. But Kansas City's the Chiefs are the main thing there, so I guess that's kind of got to play a part of it, right?
Oh yeah, they're hot now. It's hottest thing going. So.
I'll tell you, I used to always describe it to everybody like Kansas City was a big city with a small town mentality. That's what I said, And I was coming from a big city like Philadelphia, but coming out there, everything was just kind of. And I lived in Blue Springs when I first got there to Kansas City, which is like, I don't know, I won't call it Mayberry, but it's a real small town in itself that's really separated from down there deep in Kansas City. Plus, it just helped to have this Sprint Arena when it came there too, for guys to kind of stay there, kind of bring up it a little bit. So, I know they've been talking about bringing a professional basketball team there. I don't know if they will, but shoot, it's a good market for it.
Yeah, they say the Raptors might play there this year as like kind of maybe an experiment to see if it does like break in. Like I guess Oklahoma City. That's what they did during the Hurricane Katrina. Mm-hmm. They saw the big market in OKC and they ended up moving there as an NBA team. So I did want to ask you guys. The bye week is usually a time for players to relax. What did you guys do during your bye weeks? What was something did you guys have like a ritual you would do every bye week that you have for every season?
I think some of the guys would go to Vegas or do whatever. I think Vegas was the spot guys wanted to go. Guys wanted to get away and have a good time on the bye week.
Do you guys have any wild?
On the spot.
I stayed at home looking at my playbook.
Yeah, in the cold tank.
That's usually
you know what?
That's usually what happens.
No, you know what? Actually, you're always looking for that bye week, and every coach is different. Every coach is different. I know sometimes we would, sometimes they want you to get too far away from, the facility where guys can get in trouble and of course, be out on your own, because, you'd be like a wild dog sometimes getting out there just wanting to hunt just a little bit. But I would, so I know Coach Ramil would give you like 1 or 2 days, like, look, be back here for the meeting. You had to be here at a certain time. I remember, man, I missed the meeting. We were supposed to be back. And we went to Vegas. We actually went to Vegas. And so I'm going to tell this quick story, man, because at 88, I get this joke every time on this. So we go out to Vegas, and we were supposed to be back the very next day for meetings. And it was supposed to be, in the afternoon. And so, you always had to catch that flight kind of early in Vegas to get back.
Who are you with? Who's in your crew?
I won't name names. But I'll tell you, okay, me, Gonzalez, and his brother, cousin, a lot of us, tight ends, everybody. So, everybody kind of, converges. Everybody takes different flights to get out there. You just see the whole team is halfway out there, right? But we were supposed to get back. Well, we went out the night before. The very next morning, it's supposed to be the wake-up call. well, you done tied one on real good last night. He swears up and down this joke and said he knocked on my door, right? He's like, JD, man, I knocked on your door like 8 times. I said, man, ain't no way you knocked on my door 8 times. I said, man, if you get to that point, you make sure I'm on that flight. You make sure I'm on that plane. And so I missed the flight going back to facility. So, of course, I talked to Coach Vermeil on the flight. Coach Vermeil has a little laugh. Well, JD, you got to pay for this.
Hold on, was it the bye week or was it just a regular week?
No, bye week. It was a bye week.
And we had a meeting during the week.
Yeah. So Coach Vermeil sometimes will let you, he'll give you like a day or two or like a day and a half to get off. Because you know what guys are going to do. Go to Miami. I mean, you see it all over the league. Bye week, somebody's on the boat in Miami, you know what I'm saying? Or somebody's overseas somewhere. Always crazy stuff going on bye week. So Coach Vermeil knew that. So he would always make it sure that we was coming back within a day or two. Guys wouldn't just get too wild and too crazy. So yeah, I had to pay for that week. Put it that way. I paid for that one.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, and I guess that's another thing. I think it might be. I didn't even know that. That you guys would have meetings during a bye week and stuff. Is that coach? Does that determine? I guess is that more coaching, or like that's determined by that, or is that more like most coaches are going to have a meeting or two during a bye week?
Go ahead, Willie.
I just think they want to just keep your eyes on you, and then with some guys like us, they want to make sure you working out or doing something because they're worried about you drinking a little too much or gaining weight. They don't want you coming in 20 pounds heavier than you out from the bye week and you gain a bunch of weight. So they're worried about it too because they want you to be ready to play after that bye week. So it's kind of it's a couple of different things they're worried about.
So I guess my question is, how much game preparation really goes in during the bye week? Because people always say, "Oh,
it's not a lot of game preparation going on during the bye week. No, you're off. They just want to keep tabs on you. It's like you got a child and you got him in daycare or something, and you don't want him too far away from you on the park, and you want to keep an eye on him. They just want to keep an eye on you, basically.
Good analogy.
So what people say, Andy Reid's got 2 weeks to prepare for the Raiders. That's more the coach? The coach is the ones kind of working through the bye week.
Yeah,
That's the coach. That's the coaches. Yeah, that's that.
So it's like a teacher work day for a teacher, then, right? It's like everyone else is off, but the teachers are still doing their work and business.
Mm-hmm. Well, the coaches they encourage you to get away from the facility. Because you're there practically every day up until 6 or something. Like get away, just get away. But like you said, not too far. So I don't want to get no calls from no department, anything like that. So just make sure you're maintaining what you need to be. Be professional. But get out of here. Get away.
Yeah, we don't want you going to jail or getting no calls, something going on while you're gone, and then you got some more teammates with you. Because then that could be more problems too. They really gonna be upset about that.
Eric, do you have any crazy bye week stories or?
I don't, man. I was the Vegas guy. I go down to Vegas and have a little fun, sit at a table, play some blackjack. That was me. See a few shows.
Well, Willie?
You know what? I don't remember if we had to be back during the week. I probably was going more to California, going back out to California maybe for a couple of days because usually if you had the bye week, you played that Sunday, they might let you be off early in the week, and like you said, they want you there later in the week. So I'd probably go out to Cali and just relax for a few days. I wasn't like I was trying to go to Cancun or nothing like that. I wasn't trying to leave the country or go. I was just trying to get away for a few days.
And so with I guess this being the first year that Vegas has a football team, is that like in a normal year, let's say, a non-COVID year, do you think that could be maybe a concern for some players? Like, going to play in Vegas? I guess, Miami
not this year. Yeah, I think they'd probably rather go to Miami than Vegas this year if they wanted to hang out.
Right. Mm-hmm. But could you see that being a problem in the future when in a non-COVID year? Or no?
I think it's different. I think these guys, social media is different now. They can't do what was going on in the 90s and 2000. They can't. It's just it's tough. You can't get away. It's too many cameras and now that stuff gets posted too fast.
Yep.
And I think sometimes too, if you're living in a city like that, at least a loses a little bit of its luster, because you're there all the time, right? So it's like you could go out anytime in Vegas if you had a team in Vegas. So yeah, like I said, maybe for them, they might want to go to Miami or New York or something like that. Something a little bit different.
Willie, thanks for joining us, man. We're really happy to have you, man.
Big Willie.
It's always good to see the guys. Always good to talk to the guys. Go back to the old days.
We're going to get you back on, Doug.
All right.
Yeah.
Yes,
Appreciate you.
All right.
Right now.
We got the man, the myth, the legend, Dante Hall. My favorite player growing up was Dante Hall. I love you guys in the show, but Dante was my guy.
Appreciate that, my man. Appreciate that.
It was funny too. When I was younger, going into youth league, my first year ankle biters, I remember coach asked me what position I wanted to play. I didn't know any better. I want to be a kick returner. Like, oh, okay, we'll get you to do that, but what position do you want to play? I was like, nah, I just want to be a kick returner like Dante Hall.
You ever take one to the house?
I did in high school. One in youth league and one in high school.
Okay.
Touchdown, Vienna.
Yeah,
You know what it feels like.
of course, yeah. And I had another one, but they called it back because there was a block in the back, so they brought back the 20. So, but only one counted.
That's the worst.
But no, so Dante, it's great having you on. All of our guests have been, calling in and saying they wanted you on the show. All our comments saying get Dante on. So, just to have your input on the season. When I talk to Eric and JD every week about what the comings and goings of the Chiefs. But obviously, we suffered the loss a couple weeks ago. What was your kind of takeaway from the game that we saw?
I expected to lose only because I thought it was going to be a tough task, being down 3 starting offensive linemen, going against that defense. That defense was hot at JPP, Shaq Barrett. So I expected to lose. I didn't expect it to be such a blowout. I didn't expect it not to be a good game. And that's number one. And I didn't expect, in my opinion, for us to get out-coached. So going into the game, I felt like this is going to be a tough challenge. Like, you don't just go out there with backup offensive linemen and think you're going to, go against a Todd Bowles-led defense, a hot defense that had just stopped 2 Hall of Famers. So I expected that. But, yeah, like I said, man, I didn't expect it to be a non-contested ball game and to be out-coached. That was what was shocking to me.
Well, yeah, and this week, actually, I don't know if you guys saw that, what's his name? Not Levante David, the other backer.
Devin White.
Yeah. He was saying they were surprised, too, that they didn't – he said everyone wants to blame it on the O-line, but he goes, we were surprised they didn't try to help in the O-line. There was no added blockers in there. They didn't try to switch up anything. I mean, JD, you kind of know – you alluded to that last week. But
what did you say, JD? What was your take?
I was just saying that, it's hard. I said the hardest thing to put together, especially in 2 weeks, is offensive line. You just can't. These guys got to play the whole year together. I mean, you had to be on the same page. And so, with this, even if you don't keep like an extra tight end in or running back to kind of chip, you're still going against one of the top defenses or top pass rushers. And that's why I was telling, he didn't think that Tampa had a good defense, man. But I said, you jokers with, yeah, I know it. Hey, look, I said, look, you guys.
What game were you watching? Did you not see what happened against Drew Brees and Aaron Rodgers?
Thank you.
The front seven is good. I told y'all that. I told you that. And I told JD that. Front seven is good. They don't have a good secondary. And I just figured, like, even with that front seven being as good as they are, our receivers, tight end, our quarterback, we got better playmakers to outplay your front seven.
That's true.
And it's just yeah. Now you're right. Mentally, we got out coached. I feel like Andy Reid's son and his incident mentally probably played into that. Us being the entire time practicing in Kansas City and not in Tampa probably played into that. So there's a whole lot of stuff. And, you know, even the offensive line being out played into that. So mentally, I can see us getting outplayed. But for them to come and play the way that we played, that they played, and to shut us out for no touchdowns, no, ain't no way.
I didn't expect that either. You're right. Their secondary is not, you know, the most talented or the best secondary, but with that front seven, this man can't even on the 5-step drop. On step 4, he's scrambling. On the 7-step drop, right, which it takes to beat those DBs, he's scrambling on step 5. So that front seven, although they were great in the back end, wasn't that front seven? You know,
in hindsight,
the benefits of having a good front seven.
Look,
in hindsight,
you know more than anybody.
But you know, I told E this. I said, E, if you knew that the ball had to be released in 4 seconds, you had to just cover a guy in 4 seconds, you ought to win. You know it. So if you sit there, you know, look, we running routes, right? To get into our route, everything that we did was on time and, you know, offensive. And so we know that with the Chiefs offense, it was a lot of deep routes. So they didn't really have nothing quick. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And I was just thinking, when we played teams like this, what we would do when we had a Tampa Bay style defense, they used to take you on the first play, JD, and run a wham, run a crack to let that defensive end know you ain't gonna just be rushing upfield all day. We would throw a quick screen to me. We would do a lot of things to, you know, kind of offset that pass rush to that front seven. And that's one of the reasons I say, man, we kind of got our coach because we really didn't run the ball. Our screen game sucked. Our draw game sucked. Like, we wasn't taking the quick hits. We still trying to be explosive Kansas City Chiefs football team, and that just wasn't what the game plan was that day. We needed to change up and take
I agree.
what they gave us.
I agree. That's why I said it's something mentally. Like, they were affected by a whole lot going into it.
Yeah, you're right.
And I think they was overconfident too.
Yeah, but that is true. But like you said, case in point, Ty Bowles, man, is a brilliant defensive coordinator. And so, you know, you're just going to do the same thing you did to him the first time, and not to mention, like he was talking about before. If you're sitting back here and Patrick Mahomes is running for his life, he's running for his life. You don't run the football. You're not running the football effectively. Look, I don't care. We said this, and it's the old moniker. Look, offenses, they sell tickets, right? But defenses win championships. The defense showed up for this game. That's what it was. They showed up.
A little ego was involved too. We felt like we're gonna get downfield. We're gonna get our explosive plays, and we kept trying, and that just wasn't the move. Not that day.
Yep.
Now, Dante, you're an expert in all things returning and special teams. What if you go on Chiefs Kingdom on Twitter and stuff and just see the kind of slander that Mecole Hardman has been getting this year? I mean, what is your take on him? I know a lot of people say, "Oh, he's scared to return the ball. He's had a lot of muff punts. He's scared to return on punt returns." That's been a lot of stuff that you can see on Chiefs Kingdom. They're always talking about this stuff on Twitter about how he looks scared out there. What's your expert opinion when you watch Mecole Hardman?
You know, he's definitely the type of returner that he's a straight line returner. So if a lane is not there, the blocking is not there, he's not going to be able to really create on his own. So, you know, with him making a Pro Bowl as a rookie year, that's a target. Like, now teams are going to come at you. That's kind of what happened to me. I started doing my thing. Now teams are actually going to get up, scout you, check out your tendencies, all these different things. And that's what made Devin so great. That's what made Dion so great. A great returner is a person that can make something happen when the blocking breaks down. And 9 times out of 10, you're not going to have perfect blocking. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
So for me, I don't think he's scared. I just think, you know, when teams
he's more straight away.
Yeah, he's straight away. And if it's nothing there, then he's not going to be able to do much. That's not his game.
What do you think about his decision making? I said a lot of decision making he made, man. He made a lot of he fumbled a lot back there because he would just make some bad decisions.
Man, that big one that almost cost us against Buffalo. Things like that. That's just, and decision making is part of being a great returner. You got to know when to, you know, catch it on the 5 and not catch it on the 5. You got to know when to let it drop or when to take a chance. That's another thing too. Sometimes you got to make a decision now at this point in the game, field position and all these things. Now it's the time to go catch one with the gunners 2 yards from him.
Yeah.
So,
but that's also, Dante, you know your talent though. So you know if you catch this ball on this 10-yard line and you got, I'm Dante. This ball's coming my way. I got 2 gunners coming my way. I know what I can do to avoid those 2. I'm gonna make y'all miss no matter what. I ain't worried about y'all 2.
Exactly.
He ain't got that confidence yet.
Now the thing about this, what you're talking about as far as what I had, That didn't come until, let me see, 2000, 2001, 2002, 2003. 4 years into my career, I developed that. This man is year 2. I know he had the fast success as a rookie making a Pro Bowl, but he ain't seen it all yet. He ain't had 4 years of experience that I had when I had my breakout year. So what I would say to those Twitter heads and Chiefs Kingdom people that's bashing them, I didn't become the X factor, the human joystick until year 3, year 4. It took me a while to gain this knowledge. So be a little patient with him. I think, you know, he has one of the best special teams coaching tubes, whatever his name is. And maybe next year he can be better. I thought he was great his first year. Last year, he definitely took a step back, but at the same time.
And I ain't trying to knock him, you know, I'm just saying, shit, he hasn't matured to that level of confidence yet to where he can force seat shot those returns.
And it's hard returning kicks and being consistent in the NFL, man. It's hard. It's not easy, especially they're not practicing. Think about all the mispractices they had because of COVID and all these different things. But I'm not ready to give up on them yet, you know.
No, not at all.
Now, Dante, I know we have 5 minutes with you left, but talk to us about who are your personal top 5 return men of all time?
You want it in order or just any 5?
We can go in order from 5 to 1, yeah.
5 to 1, okay. 5, I would probably start number 5 with Brian Mitchell. 4, I would go Cordell Patterson.
Oh, okay.
I put myself in the 3 slot. I got Dion in the number 2 slot. And I got Hester, the disrespectful Hester, in the number 1 spot. That's my order. And I got a lot of other guys, the Drummond's, the Eric Metcalf.
Metcalf.
I mean, Eric Metcalf was a beast. We got Rick Upchurch. That's the thing. When you start making this list, you got to leave great ones off. So this is all opinionated, right? At the end of the day, we all did our things. We all were bad boys. Belgrade, Desmond Howard. You can go on. Even people like, hey, didn't you play against Napoleon Kaufman?
Yep.
Woo, a beast.
That dude was nice.
Beast. So,
hey, and another one, Tamar Vanover was
oh,
nice.
Tamar Vanover, yeah, see?
Yeah,
Tyreek Hill, the cheetah.
Yeah.
Like, he would have been a beast if he wasn't an every down receiver. So you're gonna leave some great ones off. There's a lot of people that deserve to be on that, but that's my personal top 5 for different reasons. Brian Mitchell, the longevity.
Yeah.
Cordell Patterson is just a beast. Like, he be beasting. He's like the beast mode of returners. And then obviously myself, I feel like I was a bad boy. And I put Dion ahead of me. Here's why. Because, and E, you can attest to this. To go be the number 1 cover guy, man-to-man on an island, playing the best receivers week in and week out, then you got to go after chasing these fools on a 9 route, a post route, you know, the run game. Then you got to go back and return a kick. And Dion was second to none when it came to that. That's why I put Dion ahead of me. Because, you know, I played about 25, 30 snaps on average on offense, right? Dion's out there playing every single down, the go man, and then he went and did what I did.
Yeah.
That's why I put Dion ahead of me.
I tell you what.
Like that logic? Good logic?
It's great. And I'll tell you this. Look, I came down to cover Dion on the punt a few times, right? And I'm going to tell you this quick story. So it was on Monday Night Football. We down there in Dallas. This is when he's playing for Dallas. So he's going down, you know, catches the punt. So I'm coming, you know, I'm at the tackle position. I'm widening out. And I'm sitting, you know, he starts his little skip. So he starts to outside. I'm like, look, Dion's fast, but I know I'm fast too, right? I'm like, look, I know I'm fast. Right? So Monday Night Football, I know everybody's watching. So here I'm hawking him right here. I'm like, oh, yeah, I got it. Going to the sideline. Man, I get about tackling. Yeah! And I just, Billy Davis took me right up off my feet. Hit me right up.
Depleted.
Depleted. Right down their sideline against the Cowboys. I'm laying on the field, right? And you just see the whole sideline like, oh, yeah, woo. Charles Haley wasn't playing at the time. He was hurt. He's looking, he's like, done. I look up at him, he's like, ooh.
He's crazy too. I'm thinking you about to tell me he outran your angle. Oh, you got knocked out.
I got knocked out. And he hit the sideline, took it to the house.
Oh, he gonna change gears on you.
25, yeah. But Billy Davis. But I tell you what, man, if Billy Davis didn't hit me on that side,
Okay.
I'd have had Dion.
Okay, JD.
Nah, you still would have been a part of the highlight. Don't worry about it.
Oh yeah, look, I'd have been holding that highlight. I'm like, look, you see this shit? I'm look, yeah. Well, that joker all over again. But yeah, man, Dion, no doubt, man. I see this joker. I've come.
Dion's the truth, man.
Yeah, he is. Mm-hmm. Deceptive. His speed is deceptive. People don't
No.
know that Dion was.
Yeah, no, yeah, I'm with you. No, it ain't deceptive.
Dion just blazing.
Man. It ain't deceptive. It looked like it looked. That man be rolling.
So you guys got to see Dion in his prime. Like the Dion I remember was Redskins and Baltimore Raven Dion. That's the one I remember from growing up.
I remember Atlanta Falcons Dion, San
Yeah.
Francisco, and the Cowboys Dion.
Yeah.
Dion was my favorite NFL player growing up. So
Oh, heck yeah.
he's my favorite. The 21 prime, but the Dion, remember those shoes? The 21s? Yeah, Dion, that's my guy.
All right, I know our time's almost up here with you, Dante. But last question before you go: who would you say is the best return man in the league right now?
Probably have to go with Patterson. It's tough right now on returners, man. It's tough.
He a big boy, man. So he a big boy with speed.
Big boy with speed, good vision. Just peep him. Go watch his highlight reel, and I think
he got some nice ones.
Yeah. You got the one guy too, the guy from New Orleans. I don't know his name.
35.
I don't know his number. I don't know his name, but I watched him almost single-handedly beat one team. He had 2 returns early. Maybe Tampa Bay. Maybe Tampa Bay. Just go. I forget his name, but Cordell Patterson I think is the best in the league right now. But look out for that returner from New Orleans, the New Orleans Saints.
Okay. All right.
Well, get them clubs ready, man. I'm ready to see him. I'm ready to hit that course.
Hey, when y'all get rid of that snow, I'll be down there to check you off again.
Ready? Yeah, they all right.
He got a nice game, JD. He nice. And he don't even take it serious. You know,
that's my issue. I got to take it more serious. I'll be having fun, man.
Yeah, dude, it's a good time playing with him, but he's not bad. He's not bad.
Is that right? Hey, man, you say you live on a golf course too, right?
He do.
No, I live in the middle of Uptown.
Oh, okay.
Part of Central.
Oh, I thought you were saying he was out there every day. He'd be out there 4-5 days a week.
I try.
So you out there that long, you better have a game on you. Shoot. You better check you out, man. Seriously. I'm going to have to come down there to Dallas, man. Come check it out.
Come on down here.
Meet me down there, JD. It's a good time, man. Meet me down there.
Yeah, I'm going to come down, man, do a little yard work. You know what I'm saying? Put some divots out there on the course.
Some divots. Dig a couple of graves. Okay.
Right, yeah.
All right.
We appreciate you coming on, big man. I know you got money to make.
Time for you, man. It's good seeing you. Good seeing you too, JD.
Yeah, man, you too, Tay. Definitely, my brother. Sure.
It's an honor to meet you, Dante. It's an honor to meet you.
Likewise, Marcus. Y'all boys stay up. I see you soon.
You safe now.
Yes, sir.
Tamba. What's up, brother?
I'm hanging in, man. Just kicking back. Eric.
What's going on, big man?
Not much, man. Never met you, so it's a pleasure.
Hey, pleasure's all mine, man. I was a big fan of yours. I wish I had the opportunity to play with you. You know, I had some great guys that I played alongside with, but I enjoyed your career. Wish I could have played in the backfield with you. So
I appreciate it. Marcus, how are you?
Good. How are you doing, man? I'm repping my Tamba gear tonight. You can see that.
Very highly done. Yeah, man. We appreciate that.
Tamba, I gotta say, you know, it's a pleasure meeting you virtually. Back in the day when I was in college, I remember you took over. You were on ESPN's, I think NFL and ESPN's Twitter handle, and it was Tamba Takeover. I remember you responded to one of my tweets, and it made my day. I screenshotted it, and I put that on my pictures. It's like Tamba Hali responded to me.
Pretty cool, man. Pretty cool, man.
It's awesome, man. So it was cool having you on this week. You know, this week was was a unique week as far as Alex Smith, the comeback player of the year. He retired, and you obviously played with him for a good amount of time in Kansas City. And everyone always speaks about how we had the dark days in Kansas City. There was a while there where there was some dark days, and then Alex Smith and Andy Reid came along. Kind of talk to us about what Alex Smith did to Kansas City and the Chiefs culture.
Well, having Coach Reid was a huge uplift for the team because of environment he wanted to create. So the culture he brought in was quite different than what I was used to in the league. Then having a quarterback as Alex Smith, being a first-round pick overall, and then coming to our program, coach just put confidence in us and that Alex was going to be able to win games with us, and he did. He was able to do just what we thought we could have done and more, and he did. I mean, he really played well. He managed the game well. He threw great balls. They got a lot of good wide receivers around him. So yeah, I mean, Alex definitely stood out as one of the best in Kansas City for sure.
I agree.
Yeah, I tell you what, man, Tamba, seeing Alex right now, what he's going to do as far as retiring when which I assume that maybe he might do like one of those one-day contracts and maybe retire. That's why I was hoping, come back and retire like
Back with the Chiefs.
Yeah. Kind of do it that way. That'd be kind of like, the old gladiator coming home, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Have the little stands looking, waving at him when he's coming on in with the little chariot and whatnot. So, it'd be kind of good, to kind of have like that feel good type of deal in the arena. But yeah, man, Alex, man, has been it's stellar career. Had some controversy early on, came out to Kansas City, really did his thing, the fans really, took him in, man, loved him and loved what he was able to do. Then of course goes, to Washington. It was unfortunate what happened to him up that way. But then of course the feel good story, him coming back out there on the field, right?
Yeah.
Through all the things he went through, the injuries and whatnot. So it's when I see Alex, man, and I see the things that he's done just over his career, he's one of those guys that you just got to cheer for, right?
You have to. I mean, he did a lot. I mean, given the opportunity to go to a whole new team and establish yourself the way he did, tough. I mean, with all the criticism he had when he was leaving San Fran, and then finally coming to a team, we definitely had a good defense, but as far as the offense go, we had our ups and downs. I mean, we came off a 2-14 season, and then he's coming into the program, and it's all like we rallied around him, and we're able to go on a streak that year and win 9-10 games with that same 2-14 team, and year in year after, he just continued to progress and show how prolific of a quarterback he could be. I mean, yeah, he should definitely come and retire as a Chief. I mean, I hope he does.
Yeah, I do too, man. I hate that we had one of our legends take off and didn't want to retire as a Chief, Tony. But I would love to see Alex come back and do that, man. That'd be amazing.
So Tony didn't retire as a Chief?
No, man. No, hey, and look, there's a whole story there with that, though, Tom. I had to tell you, and the thing is, we'll have him out here to talk about it a little bit later, man. Conversations, because we want him to kind of tell his side of the story a little bit. But I know, fans are a little touched by that. It's all different. So I know we're going on a different tangent, but I think, it just didn't quite work what it was. And, and Tony, man, he did 17-year career, man. He was just, stellar, what he was doing.
Wow.
So I don't know, man. He had a chance to come back.
I'm not knocking Tony for that either. I understand. I can't say that I understand because, you came in as a Chief and you basically created your legacy as a Chief, and you had a great career at Atlanta. I'm not taking anything what he did at Atlanta.
Yeah.
Right. And like I said, I don't want to come off like I'm knocking Tony. I just would have rather have seen him at least go into the Hall of Fame as a Chiefs player.
It's shocking that I'm hearing this news. It's Tony had probably some of his best career with not even a great quarterback. That shows how well he with the Chiefs. I mean, so it's crazy you say that he went with Atlanta. I don't know if even Atlanta fans appreciate what he had to bring to the table. I think the Chiefs, obviously, it's all about Tony Gonzalez here. I don't think we've had another one. Right now we do. We
got Travis. Yeah.
Travis. But yeah, I mean, Tony should have definitely, been around the ring going into the Hall of Fame as a Chief. I mean, that's sad.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, I was up there for the Hall of Fame deal, man. And you know, the thing was, got a lot of love, you know, from the Chiefs, and a lot of, you know, guys were there, you know, former players, of course, you know, Coach Ramil and, you know, all those guys, you know, you know, came back and supported him for it. You know, plus he got into the Ring of Honor, a couple of years ago, I think it was, Tamba. So, you know, I mean, it was just one of those things of like coming back. You know, it was just one of those things that you're trying to just move in the right direction. So,
yeah, I hope it's nothing from, you know, upstairs. I hope it's not management. I mean, Clark is a great owner.
Yeah.
You know, but as us players, we should always look at it. It was a privilege we had to play for this organization. And the Chiefs is special. Among all the teams in the league, I really believe the Chiefs is special, family-owned business. So, you know, I just don't see how Tony will make that decision. But, you know, Arthur Blank and those guys, they're you know, Warwick Dunn and those guys, they're great too. So
right.
Sure.
Right.
And again, I don't want it to come off as like I'm talking bad about Tony and him going into the, you know, taking it in as a Falcon. I just, me as a Chiefs fan, as a Chiefs player, I would rather have my brother alongside me in that honor.
yeah, I agree. I totally agree.
Now, Talbot, this week, so back to the Alex Smith conversation. This week, Chief fans online have been posting their favorite memories of Alex Smith. One was the comeback against San Diego. I think that was week 1, I believe.
Huge. That was huge. Yeah, that was huge.
That was the one memory everyone keeps talking about all the time. What's one memory one game or just any kind of moment that you have with Alex that you'll always remember? Like, man, this guy, you know, this was different compared to other quarterbacks I played with. Kind of moment.
I mean, Alex had his moment. To really pick one out is hard because, you know, he won a lot of games, and in the same sense, sometimes we struggled in those games, and we could have won. But as you said it, I think one of the biggest memory of Alex Smith is being down. I'm not sure how many points, maybe 20-some points, and coming back. I mean, that in itself, I don't think that's a setup. I think that's all guts and, you know, glory. I think we get out there and we ball and we just keep balling, and Alex just keep doing it. I mean, for him to even keep the ball and run it in.
Yeah.
You know, so that one definitely sticks out. But I've seen Alex play really great football. I mean, we were playing against the Jets. We were losing. I just remember he hit Tariq twice. I mean, real quick, 2 touchdowns, pop. And we're, you know, so I've seen a lot of great moments. But I wish we could have topped it off with a Super Bowl at least before we get the young man in there.
Yeah. You ain't kidding on that one.
So you mentioned the young man. That's kind of a transition here. So since Derek Johnson's retired, I've seen him go on shows and, you know, different podcasts, and he's talked about what he saw at practice in the 2017 season. Now, you got a chance that 2017 year when Mahomes was the rookie. Apparently, he was doing shows during practice. He was going crazy. Can you kind of talk about that? Did you know that this guy was going to be different and special?
Well, yeah, we did from practice, not from what we heard, but in practice. Mahomes just, for some reason, I guess I want to think if you're on scout team and you're playing against a really good defense, because we did have a really good defense, I want to think in your mind, it's like, I'm going to pick these guys apart. And that's what he did. I mean, at times we don't go as hard, but he's throwing the ball in places where we're like, man, he shouldn't have been able to put it there. You know, it's just, and it's amazing. And he's running around. So we get a chance to he simulates the quarterbacks that we're playing against, and he has to run around. So we're like chasing him, and he's still doing that backwards across the field type of throws. So Mahomes was special from the beginning. Now, to say he was going to be in a championship game every year after that, you know, that's hard. I mean, we played in the league long time, and to be in a championship game every year, that's hard. I couldn't predict that one.
And look, and you say the right thing, you know, because in practice, you're going against a great defense. You know, in the huddle, you're still talking noise. You're just like, look, we still trying to score. So yeah. Even if you set up, you know, and you run, what you do is run the opposing team's offense.
Right.
And so regardless of that, you know, the defense still got to stop you. Yeah. I mean, that's what you're trying to do. So I know he's in there like, look, get open on this play right here. Get out open on the base, on the comeback, right? You make sure you get your hands on time before he gets here. And it's just you're still trying to get into that rhythm. So when you say that, like going against a great defense, you want to make sure that you're game ready. I mean, that's what it is. It's game ready. So
yeah, he did well. The times I was there and I watched him play, and the times they started demoting me to play scout. I mean, I just play. So, I mean, I would be there rushing, and he's doing exactly what the pros do. I mean, he dropped back far. He comes in the pocket. He will run around. He's simulating it all, and he's having fun doing it, though. You know, that's where you know that, oh, this guy's not just working for a job. He's enjoying the fact that he's here and he gets to play. So, well, Holmes is one of those guys, man. It's just, you wish you could have played with him, because seeing what he's doing, it's like, man, can you imagine?
Yeah. So that's the thing I noticed too, man. Like there's a lot of times when quarterbacks are under duress, and he never seems to be stressed out about anything. It's like he's always having fun when he's in the pocket or outside the pocket.
Yeah,
it's like a game, like he's playing backyard football.
He definitely is. I mean, I think the Coach Reed allows him to be what he is. Coach Reed always said, be yourself. Let your personality be. Don't be uptight. So go out there, be you. I don't want you to be anyone else. Everyone else is taken. So he allowed us to just do what we feel in the moment, and he doesn't have no critique about that. He just wants you to go have fun. So I think with having a young quarterback like that, yeah, you're going to go out there and make mistakes and come back and make, great plays. I also have to attribute it to Andy Reid. I mean, given the fact that he's had success with quarterbacks in his history, Brett Favre, Donovan McNabb, Michael Vick, all of these guys that he's coached. So it's kind of an honor for him to be playing under such a good coach. I don't know how it would be if it wasn't a coach like Coach Reed and his staff. I think it makes a huge difference in bringing the best out of a prolific quarterback like Mahomes.
Yeah, that's true.
Absolutely. Yeah, because you had to wonder what would he do if he was up at the Jets, right? Or organization at the time, let's say Miami back then, when Miami was Miami back then.
Right. It's a huge difference. I mean, just being with different coaches. We had Herm was good, and then we got Todd. And then Todd fired some of these other guys, and we're playing different quarterbacks. And so you're watching and saying, but man, what's the difference? You bring in Alex. Alex didn't have a great season. I don't know if he had a great season the year prior to him coming to us, and he's already had all of these marks on him of how he's not this, and you see how well he developed. So, yeah, I want to always attribute it to Coach Reed and his coaching style.
Yeah.
On this show, or last week, we talked about Bernard Pollard coming out of retirement. And I'll say pass rush is a big thing for us right now. This team needs pass rush, Tom. But have you thought about coming back?
You still in shape, man?
I'm in shape. I work out every day. I got jiu-jitsu going every day.
You think you can play a full game right
now? A full game, 65 plays? I could give you 35. I couldn't give you 65.
That's all we need. Top.
That might be good enough,
man. Hey, 20 good ones. You know what I'm saying? Give you 35, 20 good ones. You know what I'm saying?
65.
Had an oxygen tank over there.
Yeah.
Now, Tom,
Hey,
so
go ahead.
No, you got it.
Go ahead.
Now, what I was going to ask is, as a lifelong Chiefs fan, anybody who's a Chiefs fan is a Tamba Hali fan. It's just, it goes hand in hand. You're a Chiefs fan, you're a Tamba Hali fan. And for me, seeing that, you retired, 2017 was your last season, and just 1 year away from making it to the AFC Championship game and 2 years away from bringing home the ring. For me, it was like, if Tom only played for 2 more years, Tom would get that ring. It's one of those things, it's like when I talk to these guys about the 03 season, it's like that was the perfect season at that one point. Then when you get to playing the Colts in the playoffs, went downhill from there. But you were one of those guys that I always wanted to get a ring, right? And so, and obviously to you obviously everyone, that's the end goal, right? Getting that ring. What did it mean to you to see the Chiefs climb to the top of the mountain last year?
I mean, it is bittersweet, to not lie. When you get let go, sometimes you're like, you guys needed me. Watch, you're gonna lose games. But then, you get over your emotions and you start rooting for the team because you see you was part of it. Everything that's happening with the team, you had a lot to do with. And so, yeah, I mean, to see the team the way, like, everything unfolded, again, it's hard to say, like, for Mahomes to just lead the team. The way I look at it, Mahomes was able to lead the team, I think, one year, either to the Super Bowl, is the Super Bowl year, and he was hurt during the year. Mm-hmm. And they started to lose games, and he came back and started winning games to get to the Super Bowl. So it was kind of wild. It's like, man, this kid is really good. And to see the organization achieve it, I'm a big fan of Clark. Clark gives us all his number. He gives us his number. To this day, I can just text Clark. He will text me back. If I have any issues in my life, he would talk to me about it. So it's, the way Clark went about it, it was different for us, and how he organized everything, brought in Coach Reed. Sometimes you'll see the firing, you don't like it, but you know that, Clark was setting up for something, and it showed. I mean, for the championship, for them to get this championship is good. Do I want to be a part of it? Of course I would have loved it. But I was one of those, I'm kind of selfish in my ways because I want to be a part of it playing. I don't want to watch. So that's another thing that's probably hindered me from being there, because at one point Coach wanted for me to just hang out and teach these guys and watch. And it's like, I never did that.
Yeah.
Never in my career have I really, and the guys that they wanted me to be behind didn't have the work ethic. So it's even burning in my mind, like, these guys they don't want it. And then eventually the guys that won a championship was all new guys. It wasn't, the guys that were there.
Yeah.
New guys.
And I'll tell you what, man, I'm going to say this about Tamba. Look, when he came in, and like you said, this is your family, right? I mean, they birthed you. This is the team that drafted you. You came in, you cut your teeth there with the Chiefs. When I'm talking about hard-working, work ethic kind of guys that brought his lunch pail to work every single day, Tamba was that guy. And look, and I'm telling you, it was guys that you just know. And look, every guy that I'm sure that went up against him, I had to see his butt every day at practice, So he was like that young whippersnapper coming in. No, you couldn't tell him like, hey man, slow down on this play. It was none of that. It was never that.
You had a motor.
Huh? Yeah. You had to hold him, man, because even if it was like a walkthrough, Tamba would still be working his move. So, man, I had to say it about you, Tamba, man, because you just, man, what you brought out there, man, just the energy, man, who you was to the practice and to the game, to the players in the locker room. I mean, just speaks volumes about just who you were. And I understand that when you were just talking about like just having to sit there and just coach, I knew you just couldn't do that. Like I've always known you, man. You just been 100 miles an hour. You know what I'm saying? All energy, all the time. And I knew you was gonna give your 100% every single play, practice, game. It didn't matter. Yeah. So I just had to say it about you, man. And I understand where you feel. And look, you ain't no different from any other player. You know what I'm saying? We all selfish in that way. We all wanted to be a part of it and play to be a part of it, right? But then, like, when you're sitting on the sideline, you have to cheer for them because that is your family, right? You are watching your brothers out there, warring and going to war. And then, of course, the city is just, they loving it. And so you happy for the city and the fans, because, the fans been waiting for it for a long time, too.
Yeah.
So now I understand, man. I feel your pain, man.
It's tough. I mean, I think every player should be aware that there's a day coming that they're going to go in a different direction. And I was young, but still went somewhere else and played. But, I didn't, for me, I just felt like, okay, this is it. I don't need to prove myself anymore, or I don't have this thing in me like, oh, I need more money, or I need to go here to get 100 sacks. I felt like what I have done in Kansas City was enough, but it is tough. I mean, as a player to allow someone else to play, because they first, you want to see if they can match your work ethics. Can they get there in the morning? Can they lift early? Can they stay after practice? You're watching these guys go and come all your career. Even the star players, they're bringing in are not doing those things, and you're like, man, this you earn it.
Yeah.
Again, I had to put myself in Eric Hicks' position. Eric was a hard worker, and they brought me in and just plugged me in, and Eric was pissed. Me and Eric almost had a fight one time in the meetings because, he's pissed. Like, you got to earn it. You can't just, they're giving it to you. And I'm like, I had to earn it. And eventually I have to earn it on the field. That's where they want it, Right. But, I had to put myself in that mindset and say, yeah, it is tough. When it's time to go, you're going to want to still fight, but you're fighting the inevitable.
I mean, you would love to leave on your own terms, and it's very rare that people get that. It's like at the beginning of the season, you tell somebody like, "This is my last season. I've done enough for myself, my family, and I think for the organization to where I want to hang it up." And nobody ever wants to get that tap on the shoulder. Hey man, they want you upstairs. Or to get that text message or read across ESPN, such and such has been released. Nobody wants that. No. And it's a part of reality, a rough reality that we have to go through. Like I said, it sucks, and it's very rare that you are that player that says, I'm gonna call my own time. This is my last year. I've enjoyed the ride, but this is it for me.
Yeah, it's very rare. Very rare.
Well, thanks again, man, for coming on. We enjoyed you, and hopefully we get you on during the season when we kick off. So,
all right, appreciate it. Thank you,
man. Tom, appreciate it, my brother, man. Love you, man. All right, man. Keep doing your thing out there, brother. You know what I mean? Seriously, straight up. All right. Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome. And remember, love and lights, everybody. Love and lights.
Love and lights, baby.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.